Hello everyone. Welcome to RecRite webinar on recruiting better retail employees with video interviews. Today's session will be all about making your hiring process more efficient, easy and fast as possible, and how do you do it in concrete with video interviews. How exactly do you conduct video interviews, what to ask, and how many questions should you ask? Everything what we will be sharing today is a kind of a condensed package on what we have learned more than 400 customers around the world and how they have been successful in their recruitment with videos. We hope you will find this session valuable and you will enjoy it. My name is Saara Salmo and I'm a marketing lead here at RecRite. And my job today here is to act as your moderator at this webinar. But before we get really started, let's get over through a couple of practicalities. Ask questions whenever you want. Use the question tab on your right-hand side. We'll answer your questions during the session, and if possible, and at least at the latter part of the webinar. There can be a brief lag, so bear with us and don't get confused if we don't react to your questions immediately. We will also involve you a few times during this webinar and ask you to reply. We will be sharing some additional material along the way. And you can see those links on your right-hand side in chat. And please use the chat function if you want to discuss with us or with each other. But don't worry, we will be sharing everything right after this session in the form of a webinar recording. So stay tuned for the recording to follow. But hey, I think it's about to let our guest speaker here today be introduced. Let me introduce you to Riku Malkki, CEO of RecRite, a true video recruitment professional and modern recruitment tech in more broadly. Riku knows video interviews inside out, but perhaps you will share us some insights about you yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Saara, for the introduction. So my name is Riku Malkki. I've been working in the HR tech vertical for around 13 years now, first building recruitment systems here in Finland. And for the past 5 years, I've been dealing with video interviews quite a lot. And RecRite is all about that. So today we will talk about how video interviews will bring efficiency, accuracy, and quality to your recruitment process.
Thank you, Riku, and thank you for having you here today. But hey, this is the perfect time for our first poll question. So wait a second, and I will publish the poll. Hope you're seeing the poll right now on your right-hand side, and we are asking, have you used video interviews in recruitment before? Okay, seeing some results. Good. Looking like many of you are already experienced with the method. Okay, good to see. And now we are about to dive our today's agenda. I will just briefly go through what's coming ahead. We have a full-packed agenda for today, as you can see. First, briefly going through retail recruitment challenges that we have learned from our customers globally. These were the section that we concentrated on our first webinar, but we are going to briefly go through some of them here as well. Then the topic of today, how in concrete video interviews will help you with your challenges. Then some benefits of using video interviews in your recruitment. And then you shouldn't ever take vendors' word for it. Our customers is a better saying our value proposition to you, and that's a better impact. Then we're going to dive more deeply into the concrete side of the webinar, 3 types of video interviews and how to use them, what kind of questions you should ask when you're having your video interview, what to look for from a candidate's video response. Then we have a successful structure of a video interview. And then finally, you can see RecRite video interviews in action, live demo. Yes, and our topic of the day is identifying right fit candidates in retail using video interviews. But as we know that there's a lot of people in the audience who are not necessarily in recruitment, I cannot emphasize this enough, that everything what we are going to show and talk will be applying to any customer-facing position.
Exactly.
Hey, and then diving more deeply into the recruitment challenges in retail. So, Riku, based on your experience and how you have been working with the customers in retail, what are the challenges there?
Yeah, and like you said, this all applies to all roles that are customer facing in a way. So we don't have to mind about that retail focus here that much today, but any role where there is a very important factor, the commitment to the job role, the ambition, the motivation towards the work, and the value that the company brings, there actually the personality of the person or the employee is actually more important than the CV. So basically the retail challenge and challenge in larger mass recruitments where there are a lot of candidates that look quite same based on their CV, it's a very hard job to identify those that might be the most suitable for that job role that we are searching for. And we can see a lot of history in the CV, maybe the hard skills and also the work history and education, but like it's written here, even years of experience and education, they won't guarantee that the person actually is the most suitable person to perform the job. And especially, for example, in hectic store environment, how can a person still keep their face positive and show the best out of themselves? That cannot be found in CVs very easily. So traditional recruitment methods don't work these days anymore. And companies need to find new ways of identifying most suitable candidates. Just a couple of words of RecRite and our value proposition or promise. We try to help through our platform and the experience that we get from our customers, recruiting faster with better quality and increased accuracy employees to the targeted roles. And by actually finding the right person or the real person behind the CV is quite efficient with video interviews. And maybe the most clinical, not that beautiful value proposition there is that actually we can minimize the bad interviews, those that wasn't planned to go that way, or bad interviews in a way. We have around 400 customers who share these views, and while they save a lot of time, many times over 50% of their time in the screening phase, they actually can elevate their employer brand and also keep their candidates active because the time between submitting an application and receiving the next communication from the recruiters, that might get very long, even let's say 1 month, 5 weeks. That's hugely too much. So video interviews come into that phase when the application is sent and before we make the decisions what to do with the candidates, either invite them into the face-to-face interviews, or then sadly some of them will be rejected. So we keep the discussion active all the time, and also get more information from the candidates at the same time, and also get the possibility to show ourselves as well and introduce us as an employer to the candidates. This process picture here is good to have always, because video interviews can be thought in many ways, and quite often when we talk with customers, first reaction is that, yeah, we have been using video interviews for years, and Skype is very good for that. Yeah, video interviews can be thought in many ways, and Skype is one form of video interviews, but that is a live session, which is basically kind of like the same thing like a face-to-face interview, which means that you actually have to reserve your time in your calendar. You have to schedule those. You have to prepare a meeting room. You have to have 30 minutes to 60 minutes time to discuss with the candidates. So it's quite time consuming in a way. So pre-recorded video interviews go like this, that I guess everybody here in the audience, based on the enrollments, they are such big companies that they have some kind of an applicant tracking system or recruitment software in use. So the job is created there and the applications are received into that system. And the ones in the candidate base that seem to be promising based on their CV and cover letter are then invited into this kind of pre-recorded video interview. And pre-recorded video interview consists usually from 3 to 4 questions, which can be written, typed in questions, but preferably video questions, because this instantly makes the discussion more humane, and we basically have met, also the candidates have met you, not only you meeting the candidates. And recruiters also pose an example on how they actually behave in front of the camera, so it doesn't have to be well directed movie-like videos that the recruiters actually prepare, but they can be just these kind of relaxed conversational videos, so that the candidates have a lower barrier, or lower barrier to start answering the questions themselves. We'll dive into the question types a bit later. We can also add employer branding videos and maybe even employee advocacy videos to the video interview in the beginning. So basically a candidate that might have a couple of recruitment processes going on, they might think that one of the recruitments is the one that they want to go for. But if they see a very nice employee advocacy video here in the video interview phase, they might have a sudden change of heart, and they actually then decide to move to this recruitment and want to actually be hired to this company, because the employees, they tell so beautiful things about the company. Then, of course, the candidates are invited into the video interview. They answer from their home on their own time within a couple of days, and recruiters then have the benefit of watching the video answers whenever they have the best moment. So they don't have to schedule a time to meet the candidate, but they just have to find some slot from their work day to sit down and watch the videos. And they can do it from their home or from train or wherever they wish. So this is regardless from place and time in a way.
When I was carrying out a video interviews project, I enjoyed the most having videos on my couch at my home. So
yeah,
that was that was great way to do that.
Yeah, and of course everything is stored in one place centrally, shareable with all the recruitment teams, so they are not scattered around emails or network drives or anything like this. So it's easily manageable process in a way. More into the benefits, finding the right match, meaning the right people coming into the face-to-face meetings and the interviews. So like I said, no more bad interviews. I guess every recruiter can relate to that based on CV, we have made some kind of vision or image of the candidate. And when the time comes that the candidate comes into the interviewing room, the image changes.
Immediately.
It might break, it might change positively, but we get this certain type of equality and standardization in there. Screening 10 times faster comes from the fact that when we originally or traditionally spend time 60 minutes or even 40 minutes if we're very quick in a live session, we actually can look 10 candidates' videos and their replies. And only after those, we decide who to actually meet in person. And it happens to be so that whenever a recruiter trusts in the video interviews, they can actually reduce the amount of face-to-face interviews quite dramatically from, for example, 6 interviews into 3 interviews in person.
Yeah, face-to-face interviews.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. So you get to see more people, but you actually then meet only the most prominent ones. Forget about scheduling, that we already went through. Engaging and collaborating with the hiring team. So hiring managers, team leaders, even the future colleagues can participate and give their own view. So we actually reduce the bias. One manager would do all the assessment. And of course, at the same time, we build modern employer image and give a smooth candidate experience. And if we think that the candidate is further away from here, Helsinki, they might be in Stockholm or London, we might think that should we fly them over right now, or should we do some kind of a test? And the test is video interview is a very good way to test whether it's worthwhile to send them over.
Yeah, I think this would be a great time to crystallize our benefits and also our value proposition in the form of what our customers have been saying about using video interviews and RecRite.
Yeah, we can go into those now. So we like to say that video interviews bring a lot of efficiency to the process. And here is one of our very valued customer, Jysk, and their HR business partner from Finland, Jonathan, saying that they can review more candidates in less time and then only meet the ones in the face-to-face interviews that are the most suitable ones, comparing that they would actually meet everybody face-to-face. So efficiency, accuracy. K Group is one of the largest retailers here, and Visa here says that we can get a lot more information from candidates compared to just comparing CVs, and of course seeing the personalities behind the candidates. In K Group, recruiters and hiring managers recruit a lot into their grocery stores, and the CV doesn't tell very much there. You can be a engineer, or you can be a cleaner before in your previous work life, and you still can be a perfect fit for this kind of customer service role. So efficiency, accuracy, time savings. Again, Jonathan saying that you can very easily and quickly pinpoint the right fit candidates with the video video replies, and you spend less time with the ones that you actually maybe don't need to spend time with, and take that time with the most suitable future employees. Further, with the time savings, maybe a bit of repetition, but whenever working with volumes, this is even more important, that you have an efficient process to see enough information before meeting the people. So it's really a time-saving tool for Clas Ohlson as well, which again recruit a lot into their stores. And quality. So we like to think that through video interviews, recruiters and hiring managers can bring better quality employees in the end to their workplace, because they actually have met so many people based on their video replies, that they actually have also the peace of mind that they actually selected the right candidates for the further process.
Yeah, hey, this is also a good time to think. If you have questions, please send them over. I will check.
While Sara is checking the questions, I will quickly go through a couple of different ways video interviews can be used. So basically, with RecRite, you can have actually 4 kinds of video interviews, but the pre-recorded 3. So traditional video interview, the candidates that are potential based on their CV are invited into the video interview. So a short pre-screening is done already in the application phase. Sometimes our customers have even skipped the traditional application process because, again, the CV doesn't tell very much in some roles. So they have jumped straight to the public video interviews, which means that the job ad is quite traditional, but the application method is actually a link to this kind of video interview where there is a hiring manager asking one thing, and maybe the HR business partner is asking another thing, and candidates already in the application phase submit their videos.
This is something that, for example, you could use with the younger people or millennials or people who are more comfortable possibly with videos.
Definitely. I would say that especially for summer employees, and in Finland we have I guess in every country there is the same thing. Christmas time is hectic because of all the present buying season. So and in those recruitments, the masses are massive. So you might have, as a famous brand, you might have 2,000 applications to go through, and you have to do it very quickly. So actually, it's worthwhile thinking about skipping some of the processes. And while the CV is not very important in those roles, and it's all about the attitude and motivation, why not go with the videos? And like you said, younger generation are fully okay with video, and sometimes it's even easier to just push the record button and freely tell your own view on why you should be actually selected for the hire. And embedded video interviews is kind of like this public video interviews. It just means that you can actually put this kind of one question, one answer dialogue wherever in your website. So basically you could just build, for example, a landing page, a marketing landing page where you would have this kind of one elevator pitch, for example. Please pitch us in with a 1-minute video.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions
Mhm.
from the audience. Should we take them now or later?
We can do it now.
Yes, we have Kate here asking, we have the option of video representations in our application system, but not many use it. I am undecided actually. They work. Some applicants ruled themselves out with videos because it was too odd or badly recorded and also didn't bring relevant info to the table. What say you?
Yeah, well, maybe two things that video CVs or video presentations from the application systems, they have one deficit, and that is the fact that there's no one asking a specific question. There usually is record or upload your video CV here, and quite often, especially the younger ones, they don't have any clue which kind of video they should be uploading there. So having this kind of directive question from the recruiter might be a really good idea. And whenever a specific question is asked by the recruiter, it's a lot easier to answer to that. And I'm pretty sure that at that point, the response rate goes higher straight away. It's quite the same thing with the text questions versus video questions.
Yeah, that we are talking about shortly. Then let's also take one quickly here from Frederick. I know this webinar is regarding retail recruiting, but do you have any customers who use video interviews for executive or administrative hires?
Yes, definitely. We do have customers from all different segments or industries. We have around 50 stock listed companies that are recruiting in any and every role. So regardless of that is it executive or even board level recruitment, we just had a discussion this morning with one of the stock listed companies in Finland that they had a VP sales excellence video interview with 19 invitations, and all of them answered. It's then all about what is actually asked from the question, from the candidates, and who actually asks the questions.
Yeah.
So with the very senior positions, I would suggest that maybe a more senior person actually asks the questions. So if there is a CFO, CTO, even the CEO asking a question, I would never leave unanswered.
Yeah, exactly. And perhaps this was the situation some years ago, but times changes and also recruitment evolves. So I think this is a bit different situation nowadays.
Yeah.
That you can definitely apply this pretty much with every kind of a position.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, great that we are having questions. That's awesome. Let's come back to those later, and perhaps we will continue.
Yeah. We very briefly touched the text questions versus video questions. And sometimes, especially when starting to use video interviews, it might be a bit tempting to just type in the questions. Tell me about your motivation and what are your leadership principles. But we know for a fact that whenever a company has tried first text questions and then later on switch to video questions, the reply rates and also the quality of the answers, they get a lot better. So basically these days we have an average of 85% out of all the invited candidates that answer to the video interviews. So 1 or 2 out of 10 drop out in the process. But I guess this happens with any recruitment, regardless of the tools or platforms. And also, it's quite difficult to convey the message of employer brand and employer image, and how fun is it to work in this particular company with text questions. So basically, it would be very, very nice to have employer branding videos there as well. So investing a bit in an employer brand video would benefit a lot when we think about especially the reply rates. And we have a annual recruiter survey that we conduct to all of our customers, and 79% out of those recruiters that answered to the the recruiter survey preferred video questions over text questions. So it's very widely used, so that all of our customers use video interviews with video questions.
Yeah, I will distribute our recruiter survey from this year in the chat, so you can take a look at that when you have the time.
All right. So now we have been talking about the questions and whether to use text or video. And when we then get the video replies from the candidates, well, I guess all social media is now filled with video, and more than 300 hours of video is uploaded to YouTube every minute. So you get to see a lot of videos. And whenever you start playing a video, you can very easily see what the mood is in the video. And when we look at people, when they talk and when they answer to the video responses or video questions, we can very easily see the attitude, the motivation, the personality of the person, whether they are very analytical or thinking or very expressive in their words. We can also check their language skills. So basically, I have never seen a CV where it says that my English is only elementary. But I'm pretty sure that, for example, in video responses, sometimes the reality might not meet the CV level of the skill that the language was written there. So we can easily switch one question into English, Finnish, Swedish, Danish. Check the verbal version of the language skill. And then we can go quite deeply into the job role if it takes to that. So with customer facing roles, quite often we want to know the motivation and personality. But when we go to these white collar, more into these specialist or administrative or executive positions, we can go very deep into the job role and the skills that are needed there. So we can have not only the soft skills, but also actually the real knowledge and know-how from the candidates. And those can be deal breakers as well then. All right. So like I said, usually video interview consists of 3 to 4 video questions. These days, 3 to 4 is quite a norm. It used to be maybe 5 to 6 questions earlier in the years, especially here in Finland. But the more questions you have, the more videos you have to watch. So basically, we try to figure out together and through our material that we have learned with our customers, which are actually very working questions, and try to keep in that 3 to 4. And usually it starts with either a employer brand video that is well directed, or it doesn't have to even be well directed. It can be funny, homemade video as well in a way. And usually in the welcome video, we want to have some kind of introduction from the candidates, how they actually introduce themselves and what they want to tell about themselves in the first place. Now that we talk about the retail and customer facing roles, we just took one example here. What makes you a great salesperson? Quite a cliche question in a way, but the answers, they differ quite a lot. So others build trust, others are very positive, and everything between. And something that is quite or highly efficient are these kind of situational questions. So building up this kind of scenario, for example, how would you handle a difficult situation with an unhappy customer that comes into your cash front and says that you gave me wrong amount of money back or something like this. So we want to know how they would behave there, and maybe we also want to have some kind of reasoning why they would do so. So we actually get into the candidate's head in a way. And there might be a right answer for that. There might be a wrong answer, but if the reasoning is right, then they can still get out of that with dry feet. And usually the thank you video is also important. Of course, thanking for all the replies, but it's a good way and good opportunity to tell to the candidates what's going to happen next. So everybody wants to know what's going to happen next and when is it going to happen. So here we can say that we will go through all the replies within 7 days now, and we will be in touch with everybody by the end of next week. So then you actually don't have to answer to those phone calls when candidates are asking, okay, now I have submitted my video answers, what's happening now? So you save some time and those kind of awkward calls where you must say that, hey, just wait, we will be in touch.
Yeah, and if you want to make an impression during the hiring or recruitment process, then sending a videos along the process, or when you have made the decision or the selection, then giving feedback using videos. I think that's something that more recruiters should do and use this opportunity.
Yeah, this is something that is actually emerging now, that all the candidates that are proceeding to the video interviewing phase, suddenly, sadly, most of those get rejected as well. So it would be only natural to give the last reply as a video as well. So no thank you emails are switching into no thank you video messages. And as we have already selected to proceed, have been actually identified as potential. So we want to take good care of them.
Absolutely. Hey, this crowd is active. We have more questions.
All right.
From Katrina, do you have any tips on how to improve reply rate?
Yeah, well, we can definitely go through the process together as well. But first of all, we encourage using video questions. We encourage telling about the video interviews already in the job ad. So basically, you can just add a line into the job ad saying that we will use video interviews to as a first round of interviews, and you check out your email constantly. We might be sending an invitation to you. So communication, then having only 3 to 4 questions, because sometimes candidates might get a bit scared if there are 6 or 7 questions, and that actually takes quite a bit of time if there are, let's say, 7 questions. And try to think those kind of questions that are not overly difficult to answer. In the end, we just want to know a little bit more and how they talk, what they talk, can they talk, and about the soft factor or the soft side of the candidates. So we don't want to push them too much. And our approach traditionally is quite humane to the candidate side, that we actually show the questions to the candidates beforehand. This is not the case with all the vendors, because sometimes vendors and some customers also prefer that it should be simulating the real recruitment or real interview. So we don't want to show the questions beforehand. We don't give any preparation time. You can't retake your answers. So this might be just too much for some of the candidates. So, but I will gladly talk more about this. Was it Katrina? Yes.
Yes.
So my contact information is on the last slide, so let's pick up the discussion there then.
Yeah, and then another one from Roberta. Have you considered the impact of video interviews on older generations?
Yes, we have considered that, and we, like I said, we conduct this ongoing survey with the recruiters and also the candidates, and we received 37,000 candidates last year replying to our survey, and was it 12% that were over 50? So basically these days, when you don't have to download any kind of app, everybody has a smartphone working just out of the box. The technology shouldn't be a deal breaker or an obstacle to even to the more mature generations.
Yeah, I will also share the candidate survey in the chat, so you can also take a look at more information from there, what candidates think and feel about video interviews. This topic we discussed quite thoroughly last time, so perhaps checking out the last webinar's recording as well might be good. But here it goes. Yeah, I think we have some questions, but we could take those later on. And hey, this now we are coming to the part that I have been most excited about and looking forward the most, and so that's being able to see RecRite video interviews live.
Yeah. So I'll just switch to this other page here, and here we have this dashboard of RecRite where we land when we log in, and here we can see the latest video interviews that we have created. These are, for example, taxi driver, sales trainee, a financial assistant, and for example in this financial assistant we have 10 candidates that have been invited into the video interview, and 6 of them have answered. And when we click on the card, we can see all the candidates here listed, and we can go through all the candidates and assess them, set the competencies, and I will briefly show how it works. So let's create one video interview. Create new video interview. Let's put their sales assistant to Stockholm this time. God, how difficult it's to write today.
The hardest part is writing.
We can also switch the mood a bit, so we can change the head banner, and we can of course change the logo to convey the company's logo brand. And usually we give some 3 to 4 days time for the candidates to react to the invitation and answer to the video interview. We support all the time zones, so you can be wherever in the world, and we support 25 languages for the candidate side. All the Nordics are there, and quite many other languages as well, and of course all the major ones. Let's stick to the English now, and the minimum information that we need to have from the candidates is always the name and the email, so that we can get hold of the candidate, but we can also ask additional things. We could even ask for a pre-assignment if we want, and then ask them to upload it as an attachment. We can also ask free-formed questions such as, can you travel 90 days per year? Yes, no, and then they answer yes, no type of questions, and those work as search parameters as well. But now that we are in the video interview world, this is the beef. So basically, we can either record a video question straight from the webcam, or we can upload a ready-made video either from the mobile device or laptop's hard drive, a ready-made movie-like nice setup videos. Or we can use text questions, but I would very much suggest that you use video questions instead. And it's really easy. You just tap on the record a video question, and you can start recording. like this. So welcome to this video interview of Sales Assistant. My name is Riku Malkki, and I will now ask you 3 questions. I want you to answer them shortly and promptly with maximum of 1-minute answers. Good luck. So this is how it usually goes. We give some short instructions, and if it doesn't go well in the first try, you can always remove the take, and you can always play the video again. When you're happy, you can save it. And once you've saved it, you can also add it into your video library. And this means that you can reuse the same question all over again. So once you have recorded a set of good questions, you can then relax and use those questions as long as they seem to be valid in your work. And you can also save them into your company library so that, Sara, for example, you can use my videos if you don't have the time to record them now. And I have a couple of questions here in my library, my own videos. Let's not use those. Let's use our company videos. I would like to have an introduction and something about the motivation of the candidates and how they would actually handle the difficult customer when such case comes. We also have a thank you video already made and what makes you a good salesperson. So here we can see that very easily we can just pick and choose the video questions from the library, and it's just 10 clicks away to create video interview when you have ready-made video interview questions. Let's reorder those questions a bit. Thank you video as last one. And now we have a video interview created. So next part would be to either start inviting the candidates into the video interview, or then we can first set up the recruitment team. So basically I could just type in my hiring manager's email address here, maybe the team leader. If the HR director wants to be there, I can add that too, and everybody gets an email notification inviting them to participate into this sales assistant video interview. And then we can go and publish candidates to the video interview and copy paste a set of candidates' email addresses here. We can also import a CSV file full of candidates' email addresses, so it's very easy to invite the candidates. Let's just put a couple of candidates here like this. And each and every candidate will receive an individual invitation with an individual interview link. And the invitation is pre-written here, and you can change it if you wish, for sales assistant, like this. And there are short instructions for the candidates as well, so that they actually know and get to know how they should behave in the video interview. Basic technical tips of having the video recording device on your eye level, having the light coming out from your front, not backwards, and these kind of basic tips. And should they have any kind of technical problems, our support will help there. Around 5% of candidates encounter some kind of problem with their webcam or microphone, so we handle all the support. So our customers don't get any kind of support burden. And the deadline is already visible here. I can just now send the invites, and the candidates will show as these kind of gray avatar pictures here until they have answered. I will quickly show how it looks like for the candidates. I will not go into my email, but I create a public link of this video interview. And this was one of the features that I introduced earlier, that you can actually set the video interview as public. And this is the link that you can share to all of your candidates. And if you feel like that would be a good process, you can pick this link, go back to your applicant tracking system, and invite the candidates from there. So basically, it's a very lightweight integration already this way. And the candidates will receive an invitation to their email. They will click on the link and go to answer to the video interview. They can see your head banner, your logo here, and they start answering the written information first and their email. Let's put something else here now. And once they have all the information filled in, they can start the interview. And as we are in the GDPR world, we want to have a clear consent from the candidates that we actually process the data for the employer. And now we can see a very, is it violet, lila color here. This can be switched to any color. So you can match your brand color into the, to match these colors as well. Not switch the brand color, but switch these colors to match the brand color. So now we answer to one video interview as a candidate. We can see short instructions. We can see the question here. I'm not sure if I dare to put the volume on because it starts circulating. But the instructions were there. And then we have 3 real questions here that the candidates, of course, listen and watch, and then they start answering to the video questions. So here is my answer as a candidate. And we would go through all the questions here that I will now fast forward a bit like this. And now we have answered to the video questions as a candidate. We can complete the interview and we'll receive a thank you message to our screen as a candidate. And we can also rate the interview experience from a very happy face to a sad face. And now when we move back to the recruiter side, we can then see, not here, but just a moment. I'll go back here and close this window. Go back to the recruiter side. And when I reload the page or come back to the system, I can see that one of the candidates have answered. And here we can also see the responses from the candidates as a feedback. And those are anonymous, so you can't see who gave what, but you can actually see what is the general consensus based on these set of candidates. And now we go and watch the video answers of the candidates. We can see the contact information. Now we only asked for the name and email but if we asked for attachments or other multi-selection questions, for example, we would then see them there. And all the questions are on the left and all the answers are on the right. And there would be a sound there, of course, normally. We would go through all the video responses here, and we could then give our views on the candidate. Quite short answers. And if I, for example, have in this recruitment my hiring manager here as well, they would log in with their credentials. So I could see that, for example, Sara has given some comments as well, and we could then discuss over coffee about the views, for example. We can also use tags, for example, let's say English or B2B sales. And these tags work as filters later on. So basically, you can very easily find all the candidates that have been tagged with B2B sales. Quite like the tags, the competencies work quite the same. I could put motivation here. I could put, for example, situational. So I could match these competencies straight to the questions themselves. And I could then assess individual answers like this from 1 to 5. the situational answer wasn't very strong, I gave a 2 out of it. And the system will start counting average whenever, for example, Sara goes and gives their own view. So the system will tell that the average is 4.2, for example.
Yeah.
And here we have the final verdict, which will always be seen in the listing as well. So it's very easy to rank the candidates or sort the candidates based on the star rating ranking. And we can move the candidate into any of the future stages. We could, for example, invite them into personal interview, and our system always encourages to communicate to the candidates after moving a candidate into a new stage. And it could be that, for example, with personal interviews, if a customer has our calendar integration enabled, we could send a interview self-scheduling invitation to the candidates. And this means that the candidates can pick and choose from the time slots that the recruiter has set up before sending the invitations. So the recruiters actually just choose, let's say, 2 hours from here, 3 hours from there. And when they come tomorrow back to the office, they can see, hey, I have 2 meetings on Tuesday, for example.
Yeah, and that's for the face-to-face interviews.
Yes.
All
right. When we go back to the candidate listing, we can see that now we, on the listing side, we can see that there are reviews in this candidate. We could see all the star ratings here, me giving 4, Sara giving 3, and the average would be 3.5. We can see the stage. And if in some recruitments there would be special stages, for example, let's say group interview or test day, we could just add a recruitment stage here. For example, let's say test day. So that would be one of the recruitment stages. And when we have created those once per each interview project, we can then move candidates into those processes.
So that can reflect your or like one particular company's process.
Exactly. And as this is winner takes it all kind of game, it's very easy to also inform the candidates what is the verdict and the decision. So we could just pick and choose all the candidates that have been rejected, for example, and send them no thank you message. And like discussed earlier, we encourage to use video message there. So, but here, as we have decided to move this person into face-to-face interviews, I could send a message here and choose send video message saying that, hey, congratulations, you have been selected for the face-to-face interviews. We will very shortly send you a couple of interview slots. You can pick and choose, and we hope to see you next week then. And this video message also works so that if there still are quite many promising candidates, even after the video interview phase, you could still send yet another video question, this kind of ultimate motivation or
so that's also very flexible way.
And this basically, the technology enables it so that you can actually continue the process until the end of the world. But I guess that we don't have time until the end of the world. So this was a very brief, in a nutshell, demo on what RecRite can do, and I'll be glad to show more of it if anybody wants.
Yeah, thanks. Looks super simple, and perhaps I'm a bit biased, but I wish I would be a recruiter. Luckily, I can be a hiring manager. Yes. Yeah. But I think this we still can steal a couple of minutes. Of course, if people are busy, then go ahead and hopefully we stay in touch afterwards. But we could go through a couple of perhaps hopefully interesting things about RecRite, our customers, a couple of minutes more. So perhaps Rick, we could go and take the last questions, or
Yeah, everything
okay,
works.
Great. Frederick is asking, in your welcome recording, you said that answers
should be maximum of 1 minute. Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, it used to be 2 minutes in the early days, but these days recruiters, when they get to know what actually should be asked, and when they formalize the video questions so that they don't ask everything in one question, 1 minute is actually really enough. And there you can get 3 or 4 1-minute answer that hopefully are crystallized into 1 minute answers. And that's also one kind of a test that can you actually crystallize your story into a 1 minute piece of recording. Just like I couldn't do my demo in 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, but of course, that's something that you can, as a recruiter, of course, instruct your candidates as you wish.
Then we have one question from Cecilia about recruitment stages. And is the recruitment stage feature also available in One Hire package? And yes, it is. Everything that I showed here are available in all our packages. So let it be single hire, a package of interviews, or an ongoing agreement. All of those features that I showed just 5 minutes ago are included there.
Yeah, a couple of words about our customers.
Yeah, we tried to take some of our valuable retail customers here. Not everybody here is retail focused. For example, Finnair is definitely not a retail company, but they recruit a lot into their crew members. So customer facing role definitely. And for example, customer companies like Jysk uses video interviews all over the world in all of their stores for all the store personnel, hiring managers or store managers and the customer representatives. And that's a standardized process, so everybody gets the same kind of questions. And then we of course have to mention always these unicorns, Uber and Netflix, because Uber and Netflix.
Impressive. But then, in a nutshell, what is RecRite all about as a company?
Yeah, well, RecRite is obviously a video recruitment platform. We were based in 2011 here in Helsinki, Finland. We are the leader in the Nordics. We have around 420 customers at the moment. We process a lot of videos and candidates' video replies, just 13,000 million videos last year. And we like to think that we have very high customer satisfaction, which is 92.4% at the moment. And yeah, that's basically it of RecRite, very shortly.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap up this session now. We want to thank everyone for joining. Hopefully there's more similar sessions to come, and you're definitely welcome to join. And on this last slide, you can see Riku's contact details. And of course, you are free to contact any of us here at RecRite, and we are happy to help you with your video interviews.
Yeah, if any of the questions left unanswered or were vague in somehow, so feel free to get in touch via LinkedIn or email to me, or also our website has a lot of public material regarding video interviews and everything around it, so feel free to browse around, and I can be contacted very easily.
Okay, hey, thank you all. Thank you all for joining, and have a great week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.